Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing a foundation try on and first impressions along with a time trial of the new Shiseido Synchro Skin. Now, I got this foundation for free via Influenster. If you're unaware what Influenster is, it's basically a website where you can sign up to receive products to review. You don't have to be a blogger, you don't have to be a YouTuber, you just need to be able to have some sort of social media and be able to provide a review to the brand via Influenster. If you're curious to learn more about Influencer, I will leave a link below where you can sign up for it. I was a little bit skeptical about it at first because I thought maybe you had to have a lot of social media followers in order to qualify for it, but that doesn't seem to be the case. There are plenty of people that don't even have a blog or YouTube that seem to receive product and they get to review it for free, which I think is kind of amazing. So the Synchro Skin is a lasting liquid foundation. It comes with a pump top, which we all know I appreciate at this point. In fact, I'm pretty sure everybody appreciates it. It does say to shake well before use, and it says wipe dispenser mouth after use. I believe it retails for 58 Canadian and 45 US. I have the shade Neutral 2. It was kind of hard to tell online what shade I would be because they only had specific color swatches of blocks of color. It wasn't like a swatch on the skin. So I'm hoping this is gonna work. I did get a bit of color recently because I ran outside for quite a length of time and I wasn't expecting as much sun as there was. So generally I'm about a MAC NW20. I might be around an NW22 right now, but I'm hoping this is gonna work. And if it's a little bit pale for me, then I'm just gonna bronze it up with some bronzer and that'll help deepen up the edges. As per usual, I'm going to be using my damp Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge. That's the only way I apply my foundation. I have no primer on my face, I won't be powdering, and I won't be touching up throughout the day. My skin is mostly combo dry. I tend to be more combo / a little bit more oily in the summer when it's a little bit sweatier in Toronto. And then I go a little bit dry throughout the winter. It is fall time right now and we've had an unseasonably warm season, so I'm not quite dry yet. So I'm still in that combination phase before I dry out for the winter. All right, this says to shake well, let's get it on my face. It is incredibly runny, like it's just flopping down my hand. Shiseido says this is a smart, oil-free, long-lasting foundation that beautifully enhances your complexion. Maintains skin's clarity while preventing shine, creasing, and fading all day long. Flawlessly undetectable like it belongs to your skin, this innovative formula with medium buildable coverage and a modern matte natural finish feels uniquely airy and silky on the skin. It does also contain an SPF of 20. This does also contain 1 fluid ounce of foundation or 30 mils, which is a standard amount for foundation. All right, I've got all the foundation applied to my face. I have to say, I felt like the sponge soaked up a ton of product. I used way more pumps of this foundation than I've ever done, but if you're somebody who uses a brush, you might not have that issue. It smoothed on really well. I think the color match is mostly decent. I think it's a little bit too pale compared to my neck, but that's okay. It's funny, it feels smooth, it feels very lightweight. It does have that kind of airy texture because as soon as you apply it to your skin, it kind of, almost like it dissipates, like the liquid wet part of the foundation disappears and you're left behind with just kind of like a powder finish, which is kind of what I'm noticing actually. My nose looks like I've powdered it, but I haven't put anything else on it. It's just the foundation. And it does give a really, oh, it's kind of creasing up here. Not unexpected. From doing this all the time, I get forehead lines. This is definitely a strong medium coverage foundation, if not almost completely full coverage. I did layer it a little bit over here so I could see how much it covered my blood vessel, and it did. So I'm pretty impressed by the coverage and the fact that it can build nicely. It is still drying down, but I'm gonna go apply the rest of my makeup and I will be right back. All right, rest of my face is done. I feel like everything applied smoothly. I think the color match with the added bronzer is pretty good. My blush might be a little bit strong though. In general, everything applied just fine, so I'm happy about that. All right, so it is currently 8:05 a.m. I'm gonna head to work and I will be back around 5 o'clock and we'll see how this wore throughout the day. All right, I'm back from work. It is currently 5:36 p.m., so this has been on for 9.5 hours. What do you think? I'm pretty impressed. My face doesn't look that different. And honestly, I felt like the oils only started to come through a little bit around the 2 o'clock mark, which is super impressive. And really, I'm only actually shiny in the forehead area. Everything else, like this up here is just highlighter. I really like it. Perhaps the most impressive thing about this foundation for me is the fact that it has held up on my nose. I can't think of another foundation that I've tried where it actually stays intact on my nose throughout the day. There might have been one in the past, but it's not coming to mind right now. I am a little bit oily right on the tip, but I mean, it hasn't disintegrated and it's actually still there for the most part. I mean, not completely because my nose is Teflon, but it stayed put and that never happened, so I am absolutely shocked. And I kind of wonder if it's got to do with the texture of this. When I put it on, yeah, a lot of it sank into my sponge, but it very quickly started to feel and look like a powder. Now, I'm not really well versed in powder foundation. I think I've tried one in my entire life, but this looked like powder on my face, and I'm kind of wondering if that helped to like keep my skin matte a heck of a lot longer than it normally stays. I also had very, very minimal desire to itch my skin with this foundation on. I've mentioned this before, but my skin tends to not like foundation, so I always want to just scratch at it a little bit. I didn't have that with this foundation so much, maybe a little bit towards the end of the day, but in general, I wasn't like poking at my face all day, which is what I usually do with the few foundations that I have. So I have to say, I'm pretty impressed with this foundation. It has stayed put, my makeup has stayed put on top of it. I've got a little bit of oiliness through my forehead, but nothing extreme, and certainly nothing that I couldn't fix with a blotting powder or a blotting sheet. One of the things I really liked about this foundation was that it just felt very consistent throughout the day. I didn't have to constantly look at my face to make sure that everything was staying intact. I would look like every 2 hours or so and just take a peek, but it wasn't like some foundations that I've tried, looking at you, Decium, where I had to look every 15 minutes just to see what was happening on my face. So I liked the consistency in this, and I felt like I could trust it to not move around throughout the day. I do have one complaint about this foundation though. There are only 10 colors in the range, which is just not enough. Especially when you've got more and more brands putting out 40 shades of foundation. 10 just seems like an insult in comparison. I mean, that's only 25% of the range of Makeup Forever or Fenty Beauty. Anyway, it did work out for me. I do enjoy the foundation and I would recommend it. I think it looks really good and it's held up throughout the day, which is exactly what I needed to do. That's gonna be it for the Shiseido Synchro Skin review. Thank you so much for watching and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.